BlackRock gives bankrupt Bitcoin miner Core Scientific a new $17 million loan. We've talked about this a lot when it comes to Bitcoin mining. What is the number one problem with Bitcoin mining, right? Specifically the hardware. Actually, the hardware was originally specifically the only problem, right? Because you had a single company, essentially at the very beginning, Bitmain, manufacturing the miners, mining on themselves until they developed a new miner, then selling the old miner and then just having a competitive advantage on the network, right? This was obviously a huge problem. Plus, made it absolutely impossible for the average human being or the average worker to ever get into it. I mean, this is kind of the problem with almost everything in life. It's always funny that we get these kind of, work hard and do what I did and you'll make tons of money. And then you find out that they had a $250,000 investment from their parents to do something. You're like, okay, cool, dude. Glad you worked hard. Glad you got that initial investment and that it worked out for you. But there's a whole bunch of other people over here that are living like hand to mouth. Is not going to work for them, right? So why was mining Ethereum such an amazing opportunity for people? Was because you could do it on a GPU. And yes, even with the increase of cost for the GPU due to the demand for them, it was still within reach of the average consumer, which meant you could actually start participating in the ecosystem, like the economy, in the manner in which everybody always preaches to you, which is buy assets that generate income. Okay. Almost everybody can understand that and start generating income, but the barrier to entry is so far away for a lot of people. And that is what made basically mining with GPUs so enticing, especially to me. That's why I wanted to teach everybody, because it's like, hey, look, there's this thing that can take us from level 1 to level 2, and then maybe we can start moving on to other things, right? This was what the principle was. But then you start like seeing, obviously with Bitcoin, this get locked down into individual companies, and the barrier to entry gets astronomically high, right? Then you're like, okay, well, the price of it's come down, but at the same time now, the price of power for the general consumer across the board has increased to the point to where you basically have to own a power company or be utilizing so much power that you can negotiate a power agreement that actually is profitable, which means you have to have also the money to invest in all of the miners that are going to utilize that power. And you have this kind of weird situation where and then we'll get into the third one, but between the power costs and the restricted access to the hardware, Bitcoin mining becomes nearly impossible to get into. You add the trifecta here, which is, of course, kickbacks in places like the state of Texas for turning off your miners to, of course, people that utilize a certain amount of power. And then Texas takes the payback that they give them during the summer and they charge the general consumer, right? The little guy. And you got this trifecta of BS that you just can't get around, right? And it's pretty intense when you look at it, the amount of investment that has to go into it. And even still, these Bitcoin mining companies with all of the advantages in the world fail because of their greed, right? And we've talked about this before. Is Bitcoin basically designed in a manner that forces greed to fail because of the halving cycle, right? You have the price go way up, the price of the miners go up, and what happened is all the Bitcoin miners ordered a bunch of mining machines at a inflated cost, and they didn't get shipped till later. And then basically the assets didn't meet the value of the loan, which put them in a compromised position. And you go, okay, well, maybe not too big to fail, right? But as you know, with the banks and everything else in this entire world, too big to fail is too big to fail, and large companies get bailed out. And that is what's happening here now. We have BlackRock giving Bitcoin miner Core Scientific a $17 million loan. It already was Core's largest shareholder. It held $37.9 million of the miner's secured convertible notes. And the investment bank BlackRock has committed $17 million. Hold on. Quick cough. $17 million to Bankrupt Bitcoin miner Core Scientific as part of a new $75 million loan from the miner's secured convertible note holders, according to the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission filing that was filed on Thursday. BlackRock, which is Core Scientific's largest shareholder according to FactSet data, already held $37.9 million in secured convertible notes as of Wednesday. The latest $17 million is part of the new $75 million convertible notes, which are part of Core's prearranged bankruptcy process, the filing says. In a prearranged bankruptcy, the debtor reaches some sort of agreement with its creditors before officially filing for bankruptcy. Core Scientific, the largest miner by computing power, filed for Chapter 11 on December 21st. The move comes as miners in general have been squeezed by high energy costs and low Bitcoin prices. Core noted that it expects support from some of its convertible note holders in the form of 2 debtor in possession facilities totaling up to $75 million. According to the restructuring plan, the secured debt convertible note holders will get equity. The current equity and unsecured holders will get warrants so that as the company grows, they will get more shares. Its chief mining officer, Russell Can, told CoinDesk. Out of the total $75 million, the lenders have already committed $57 million, including BlackRock's new loan to the miner. The DIP facility has a maturity date of June 21st, 2023, with terms to extend to September 21st, according to the new filing. Shares of Core Scientific traded at 8 cents on Friday afternoon. Core first warned of the risk of bankruptcy in late October and said it wouldn't be paying some of its loan installments, sending its shares plummeting 80% on the NASDAQ. In November, it reiterated that it may run out of money by the end of this year. Compute North, another major firm in the mining business, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in late September. Crypto miner Ergo blockchain narrowly avoided bankruptcy after getting a $100 million bailout from Mike Novogratz Galaxy Digital this week. BlackRock, Vanguard, and Fidelity are among a few of the TradeFi giants that invested in Bitcoin miners during the bull run, as shares of publicly traded miners offered a faster way to get exposure to the sector without having to buy Bitcoin. Basically, what we're seeing here is BlackRock, well, not just BlackRock, but BlackRock helping facilitate, essentially here in this manner, Core to absolve all its debt through bankruptcy and then continue to function as a company and basically continue to operate, right? That's pretty much what we're looking at when we start talking about DIP and the way that they're manipulating all this. Do I understand it fully? No, I probably should do some more research, definitely, so I understand how all this business works. To me, it's extremely frustrating as, you know, we see these failures kind of get bailed out in funny fashions, right? Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.